Hello, everybody. This is a new engineering community team showcase. We are going to see what we have done in the month of May. So we will start with a Wikimedia Hackathon, which was an event that took place in Zurich. All of us were there, and also I don't know, like more than 160 people or something like that. I will share my screen just to show you the stuff. All right. Well, yeah, by the way, we have this nice wiki page where we are going, these are the topics that we plan to discuss today. Also, you will find some convenient links. Zurich Hackathon. This event was organized by Wikimedia Switzerland. The Wikimedia Foundation helped a bit. Rachel and me were the two people that, well, their usual contacts. And the event went very well, in my opinion, for many reasons. Of course, it went very well because we had more than enough people. Like we had a critical mass of, not just in terms of quantity, but I think we had a good diversity of Wikimedia Foundation employees, people from other chapters, people from the technical community. We also had some special guests, like, for instance, some contributors from OpenStreetMap. We also had a diversity of topics already proposed in advance, and they went from MediaWiki Vagrant to Maps integration, several Wikidata related activities, architecture discussions. I don't know, like many different types of activities for different types of contributors to be able to just join and do something. This is we came up with a schedule, so it was run as an unconference. The only thing we had before the event was this topics page, and we had this schedule basically empty with, if I recall correctly, just a couple of activities that really needed to be pre-scheduled because they were relying on speakers that had to be on time for the session. But apart from that, the rest was empty. And at the beginning of the conference, we just ran a session and where we more or less introduced the different teams or the different topics proposed, and the rest more or less just happened. I think it's also good that we have many links here. So if you go, I'll put an example that I know it works. We had, for instance, several sessions about Fabricator that Andre is going to talk more about. But for instance, in this case, we had here the activity about Fabricator, who attended, and also we put the link to the video that was recorded during the session. So in other cases, you would have an Etherpad created with notes and more links. In some cases, there were some prototypes created, and then you would have links to those prototypes. And there was also a blocking bug report that maybe Andre remembers the name, the number, I mean, that we agree that all the bug reports created, or all the tasks that done during the event that deserved a bug report would block that one to have an overview of the activity. We haven't done the summary yet. There's a survey that Wikimedia Switzerland is compiling, and we still don't have numbers about that survey. We don't know how many people have responded, and we don't know the answers yet. But as we did in previous events, we will do our best trying to summarize the feedback and extract the good lessons for next events. I think that's all from me about the event. But considering that all the rest of people in this call were in all the other engineering community team members and also Rachel were in the event, I think it would be good to if you could also share your opinions.
Well, I'll just speak briefly first, since this was the first big European hackathon in 3 years that I didn't really have a hand in planning. And, you know, it went smoothly. It's clear that it is a workable model to have this move around and to have the chapters who have previously done this event mentor and give best practices that the next one can use. And I was able to get a lot done in conversation with other people, interviewing people, and getting knowledge that they had. And it was really wonderful to also be in a Zurich hackathon, to be in a hackathon that had 14% women attending. I just happened to look back at the Berlin hackathon group photo from 2011, where there are just a few of us sort of peeking through the group photo. And at Zurich, it was a lot rarer that I was the only woman in the room, and I really hope this trend continues. So thanks to everybody for putting it on. Kim, I'm sorry, I might have missed it if you mentioned if you have a timeline on when you expect to sort of have the retrospective done with the survey and everything.
Good question, and I don't have an answer, but Manuel Schneider from, sorry, and Charles Andre from Wikimedia Switzerland have been pinging people really on time, and the last reminder was sent, if I recall correctly, like 10 days ago. So I assume that during the month of July, latest, we are going to be able to share some results. I hope that answer is good enough. Okay, so who else? Andre, do you want to share your opinions about the hackathon?
For me, I appreciated a lot that we had these fabricator sessions, like 3 of them, quick walkthrough, especially when it comes to the current abilities of code review by Shahya. And especially there's the session on Saturday when like 10 or 12 people sat together, and there was this momentum of getting things going. And that was, I think, really good that it was in person. So, and on Thursday, our physical team meeting, I think, was also a good thing that we had, yeah. So all in all, very good.
Guillaume?
I don't have much to add. I mean, I think the hackathon was very well organized, and it was a pleasure to attend. And I think a lot of people did a lot of work, so that's all we. I mean, that means that it was a good event, I think.
Kim, thank you for setting up the ECT chats the day before the hackathon proper, and for setting up the fondue lunch that we had, even if I could barely walk after.
Yeah, actually, this reminds me that I haven't added this to the topics of this call, but we can talk a bit about in the briefs section. Yes, good point. Rachel, so what's your point of view as co-organizer and attendee also in previous events?
I just have a point of view of the logistics, and basically I think everything went really well. I think having the staff at the hostel worked really well for everybody, including the staff. They all seemed to really, really enjoy it, and the people that were at the hotel seemed to regret it because they, because they had to travel so much further and they weren't part of the fun atmosphere. On my side, it was the easiest planning that I've ever had in any hackathon. Manual was really organized. We already had a plan in place. We already knew what had gone wrong in the past, so we could talk about it up front during the planning. And this is something that Kim pointed out that I thought was really important, is that Manual had it set up in a way that people with scholarships could land in Zurich and spend $0 and still have a really fun trip, because they already had public transportation passes to get from the airport to the venue. All of the food was taken care of at the venue. All of the events were taken care of, including sightseeing stuff. And so that was awesome. The biggest complaint that I heard, and I'm sure we'll figure out more as soon as we do the retrospective and and get all the data from that together, from the feedback survey together, is that people didn't like the food, but you know, we can do better next time on that. Yeah. And I think it's great that Kim already sent the next steps to chapters. I think the most important thing a very important thing that we did was meet with all the past event organizers on the last day of the hackathon and really talk about what has worked in the past, what hasn't worked in the past, and how we should run hackathons in the future. And Kim's already sent an email to, I think, WikiTech. Is that right, Kim?
Yeah, I will talk about this later.
Okay. All right. Yeah, perfect then. Yeah, it was great.
I'll mention one more thing. As far as I can tell from what I heard, and I certainly wasn't one of the organizers, so I wouldn't necessarily have heard anything, I have not heard anyone talk about any incidents of harassment or other inappropriate, off-putting behavior that made other people's lives harder or made it harder for them to work. I think I'm going to say that this shows that even if we don't have proof that the friendly space policy helps, it certainly doesn't hurt.
Oh, certainly it doesn't hurt. And unless I'm missing anything, Kim, from our point of view, there was no harassment or no complaints or any issues like that. No one was feeling uncomfortable, so it's good.
That's great.
Yes, I agree. All I can recall was Dan Andrescu beating me on chess at 3 a.m. With an aggressive move. But apart from that, really, I don't recall anything.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. And I'm happy to keep organizing events where the biggest complaint is the food. Jokes apart, that I did hear some comments from vegetarians that if you are vegetarian, then you were a bit cornered. And yes, we'll keep trying. I can tell that it's not because ourselves and Wikimedia Switzerland and Manuel personally insisted several times. It's just that in some parts of the world, it's still difficult to understand vegetarians when you are not a vegetarian. But, well, everybody came back home, and I think everybody was fed. Okay, Rob, do you have any questions, any comments about the event?
No, well, I'm no question.
Okay. Did Rob froze?
I missed it.
I think I didn't hear anything because you were frozen. I don't know.
Can everyone else hear me?
Can you now? Yes.
Okay. So yeah. So I just want to say no questions. My only comment was everything I've heard has just been effusive praise, and that I'm sad I missed it.
All right. Very good. Andre, do you want to continue with the next topic, Fabricator?
All right. Let me also try to share my screen. So I hope you can see now the board. So status of Fabricator. As we're using...
Yes, we can see the Trello board. Yep.
Great. Okay, thanks.
Not
I never
Trello.
trust technology, you know.
It's not a Trello board.
Don't call it Trello. So as we're using our test instance in Wikimedia Labs on fab.wmflabs.org, there we have the Wikimedia Fabricator Day 1 board, which you can see here now with the different columns. So this is the overview of what's currently going on with the backlog on the right, but stuff here under doing, which has assignees set, the people working on this. Some stuff we're waiting for upstream, and some stuff is also ready to go to pick up, and a few things, quite some, still underneath discussion. So what's currently cooking, especially under doing, Mukunda is working on implementing authentication, like a single user login. He's pretty close to this according to the last comment. I think yesterday he told me that he ran into one issue with cookies, but yeah, so we expect to have this sorted out and fixed soon. This is blocking setting up the Fabricator instance, the live production instance, which compared to the original plan a few weeks ago, we plan to do way earlier. With a limited set of tools enabled, because we plan to deploy a so-called trusted user tool. So as the description says, this is meant to list or manage Wikimedia site users that have elevated privileges in one form or another. This is the plan behind why we're doing it now in this order. And what else is being worked on? Mukunda is also working on one of the blockers for deploying our live instance, which is restricting the access level of all tasks under a specific product. For example, like we have it currently in Baxilla for the security project. So these are currently the big blockers that are being worked on. So going back to setting up the Fabricator instance, the status here, the last one is there is a patch set in Garrett currently that is being worked on to properly puppetize Fabricator and creating a module. And yeah, this is work in progress currently. I've been mostly discussing things, who's doing what, picking up pieces, upstreaming some issues, and starting to tackle those items that need a bit more discussion. Like, for example, which statuses do we want to have? Do we want to have a severity field? Basically bringing people with opinions, expertise, and experience in this area together and make them talk. That's how I would describe it. One more thing, because I had to put all these tasks somewhere that we think we don't have to sort out for day one. So there's also now a project which is basically the backlog of the backlog for Wikimedia Fabricator maintenance after day one, which lists all those tickets that we won't sort out for day one. And general info, I put status updates on the Fabricator migration page on MediaWiki.org. That's everything from my side right now. Please comment, please question.
I just want to add a couple of things more that we have done here. Let me see if I get to the right place. So we have refreshed the general Fabricator landing page. This page existed with information from the last time that Fabricator was considered, like 2-3 years ago, and now it's becoming slowly a proper landing page. So from here, anybody you can get like the basic information to get started using Fabricator or testing Fabricator, and how to get involved in the project. There's a Fabricator help page that has nothing at this point, so I don't even need to show it. But as soon as we are going to get more, as soon as we receive more questions, how I'm supposed to do ABC, we are going to document everything there. And I just want to mention a bit the last novelty, which is the, then we also have the Fabricator plan page, where we have done some very recent changes to the migration plan, and actually the changes are about the steps to do before the day one. Day one being when Baxilla is migrated. So when we close Baxilla, we open Fabricator, so to say. The idea currently the idea is that we would launch a Fabricator instance in production only with Wikimedia logging, the Singer SUL, and this is to this will be done to test this Wikimedia Soul plugin, which is new and nobody else has tested before ours. So that would be the first step, and it's going to be done as soon as we have the instance and the plugin. So nothing else. And then the next step is going to be this trusted user tool, which is a project that came in very conveniently, I would say. It's a request from the legal and community advocacy team, and basically it's a tool that allows users that are going to get special permissions to sign a community agreement and then keep a record and a track of who has signed that agreement. For that, we're using this LegalPad app that works in Fabricator, and we have a small project, with some tasks. Most of these tasks actually are day one tasks, so I believe this project is not adding much overhead to the work that we already had to do. But there's a couple of details that yes, they are unique to this project. Especially there's this feature of identify translations of a LegalPad document as instances of the same document. So that this is something that Fabricator doesn't support now. Every document, if it's in English, German, French, whatever, counts as a different document. Whereas from the legal team perspective, it would be just the same document, just in different languages. And we have filed this back upstream, and we are going to talk about it. So yes, I think that's all. Let me see if I have. So please, questions about Fabricator?
Just one more note. We're actually Evan Priestley is coming by the San Francisco office a little bit later today, and that's and so we'll have the opportunity to talk to them in general. They've been just a fantastic upstream to work with, and if you look at every single feature request and bug report that we filed upstream, they've taken every one of them seriously in one form or another. So even if they don't intend to implement the feature, they've explained very well why it is that they don't intend to implement it as we'd requested, and it seems to have a lot of coherence in terms of like what their overall vision for the product is. And so yeah, I'm really excited to get moved over to the system. I think it's going to be I think it's going to like really transform the way that we do collaboration here.
Yes, personally, I'm so used to upstreams that are slow, don't bother about you. You know, you have to go and chase them all the time. I'm so used to that in this case, actually, their speed, I don't know, the quality of the feedback, even when they disagree with you, it makes so much sense. That actually what is happening to me is that I'm looking at our own community now saying, oh my, we are slower, more fuzzy. So I think indirectly they are helping us also like realizing things that we could improve ourselves, honestly. I also have to say that Andrew mentioned this briefly before, but it was half of coincidence and really convenient, the fact that most of the people that have been giving opinions about Fabricator in the RFC were at the hackathon. From the biggest advocates to the most critic people, we had a chance to sit at the same table in the same room and discuss. And that was very, very useful to just see where are the pain points and what are the things that really matter and need to be solved. And for instance, that was very useful to realize that, well, at least when it comes to the manifest tasks, bugs area, it's relatively clean. We have to do homework, but it's relatively clean. And it was also very clear that in the code review area, that is more tricky, and we will need. It's a totally different game. Something that was not as clear in the RFC itself. All right. Anything else about Fabricator?
Just a quick note that we have the blog post almost ready to announce the migration. So there are just a few tweaks that we need to make before publishing that, but it should go out this week.
Okay. And Guillaume, the next point is yours, so you can continue.
Okay, let me screen share. Okay, and increase the size. So this month, well, apart from business as usual type work, I worked on a Lua module to basically manipulate Wikimedia engineering activity pages and things like that. So I started this in Zurich, and I've been working on it when I had some time. It's not yet complete, but you can already play with it for some things. So an example is here in this sandbox page, where here you have a list of current activities by the mobile team in a compact list, and here you have a list of current activities by the language engineering team, where you have, the title and the link and the short description. So that's the short description type. And if you click on Edit Source, you see that this is just 2 links of Lua code, where basically you invoke the Wikimedia engineering Lua module that I just showed earlier, and then you specify which engineering group you want, and then what kind of list you want, and then you just get that kind of content automatically. And this is used, for example, so this works for current activities, but also for obsolete or older activities. So, for example, if you look at the engineering community team template that I started last month, you see that we have activities here. So the current activities are listed with this module, and also the inactive as well here. And this is done automatically. And so it's nice to be able to use it here and not have to update it manually. But where it's particularly helpful is on the Wikimedia engineering page, because that's a page that I created a long time ago, and nobody really looked at it or updated it. So we used to have a list of current projects here for each engineering group, but the list was always obsolete because nobody updated it. So now it's always up to date because, well, it's just like these 5 lines of, invoking the Lua module for each engineering group and displaying the short description for each. So this means that as long as people are keeping their team hubs up to date, well, this page will be updated automatically. And while I'm on this page, I wanted to show a few other things. So this box here is another function that I wrote in the module, where basically it just picks a random activity that is currently being worked on, and it features it in that box. There's one problem, which is that the random function in Lua isn't actually random. I need to dive into it to maybe add a seed or something based on the timestamp so that it's actually random, because basically it's just always site performance and architecture, and it has been this activity since the hackathon. And then I did a few other improvements to that page, like now it always displays the latest issue of Tech News. So basically, Tech News is posted to user talk pages, etc. But now we're also posting it on a dedicated page on MediaWiki.org, and then as it's transcoded automatically on this Wikimedia Engineering page here. So this is updated automatically every week. And another box here is the introduction of the latest engineering report. So this is transcoded manually for now. I may do it automatically later if it's worth the time. So this was one of my goals for this month, to add more usable and useful and up-to-date content to this portal. And my other goal was to make it prettier. So that hasn't happened yet. So it's still an ugly page, but at least the content is useful and up-to-date. And yeah, so basically I'll try to make that well, more useful now. And I'm not sure how I stopped the screen share, but
it's already stopped. Actually, you're not screen sharing anymore.
Thank you.
But the timing was very good. It was right when you finished the.
Yeah, it was very good time. Very good time. Guillaume, I want you to know that just last night I was walking my intern through what Wikimedia Engineering does, and I found the Wikimedia Engineering page helpful.
I'm glad. And if you have any ideas about how to make the system more useful, or useful functions like displaying projects. I mean, I implemented what I thought would be useful, but if you have other needs or other ideas, I can look into it.
Well, I'm kind of curious, is there anything we can do to transcode things from Wikitech for ops?
That's out of my hands. I mean, inter-wiki transclusion is a really big challenge, and it's not one that I have the skills to work on.
Okay, yeah, it's one of the great dreams, I know.
And there's a bug report for that.
I believe it's like bug number 11 or something.
Yeah, well, is it called the crazy transclusion or the wild transclusion? It has an adjective.
There's I think there's a MediaWiki configuration parameter that's called WG enable scary transclusion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you, Guillaume. I think this is very important, especially when we consider that engineering is about half the workforce of the Wikimedia Foundation, if not a bit more these days. I don't know. So it is important that we have all that information properly presented and up to date.
Yeah. I guess one other question. So how like the source material that's drawing from, like this is like really cool. I'm really excited to see this, because I know because I suffered through the pain of like seeing all of the out-of-date pages. So I'm really glad you've done this. One thing that has always been complicated about this is it always feels like one of those Russian dolls, like trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I edit that thing on the page, the actual description, sort of diving all the way down. Like, is it all the way down to the project page that you have to edit?
Yes. So we make it easy to display the information in many places by transcoding it from one central page, but that means you have to find that page to edit it. The way I tried to make editing easier, for example, in those tables that you find on the platform page, is by adding a direct edit link. In each line for each project, you have an edit link for the description, and that should open the right page to edit that.
Got it. Okay, and then the active and inactive status is something that is set on the team page, correct?
Yes, the team page is where we pull the studies for all that.
Yeah, got it. Cool. Thanks.
All right. Anything else about these improvements in the activity page system? This seems to be the last big point before jumping to the brief news. Is that right? Or okay, then let me continue with first brief news. Google Summer of Code 2014. I think I'm sharing the screen. Is that right? Google Summer of Code 2014 and Outreach Program for Women, round 8.
Yes, you are. You are sharing it. Yep. Well, actually, no. You're sharing the meetings page.
Yes.
But
yes.
You need to switch tabs. That's all. Yep.
Yes. So we had what I recall as the most populated, participated IRC meeting from ECT with good representation of students, Summer of Code students, OPW interns, and also some mentors to sync up on several topics and have questions, answers, etc. And we have tried to align our processes as much as possible between Summer of Code and OPW to make things simpler for everybody and also create the same expectations and put the same standards. And to be honest, I haven't got a chance to look at all the reports, but I think we are doing well. The reason why I couldn't go through all the reports is because this week is just crazy when it comes to reports, reviews, showcases at many levels. So everything came at the same time. But the good thing is that actually the midterm review is coming in just a few weeks. So this time both programs are really earlier. So, but I think so far we are doing well, and I think having this well-defined process is helping everybody. So here we have the Summer of Code students, and I see many checkboxes. I see some students that still maybe they are not following much, but as you can see, it's relatively easy to have an overview of the point where the student is with the project. So now I see that, for instance, I should ping Vikas and Bartosz even without clicking to see, hey, what's going on? And maybe everything is fine. This doesn't mean that they are delayed in the project or anything, but at least it's easier to find out who to ping and check the status of a project from the point of view of the org admins. And in the Outreach Program for Women, okay, I see that here the dynamics are different, but here you also have the links to the reports. So basically, this time we are proposing everybody to default to weekly reports. They can be as let's just try this one randomly. So we see week 1, week 2, June 1st, looks good. All right. So again, trying to scale a bit all this process because we are having more and more people every year. And that's it for me. Questions about this? If not, let's move to the RFC process. Sumana?
Hi there, folks. I'm not going to screen share because this will just be so short, but you can click on the link in the web page. We have been continuing the process of helping people move their request for comment forward so that they can make and shepherd proposals to improve the infrastructure of Wikimedia, especially MediaWiki. And also, in order to help the process move more quickly, we're going to have additional RFC discussion meetings. We've been having them once a week and trying to focus a lot on getting decisions made by the architects. A lot of the time, that's not what people need. People want community feedback more than they want architect decisions like go, no-go. So We're going to have more of those chats. And it seems like it would be a good thing if these RFC discussions on Wiki, on the mailing list, and in IRC had more participation from more parts of the engineering community, including QA, design, product, actual users from Wikitech ambassadors, and so on, depending, of course, on the specific proposal under discussion. So I'm going to be making sure that that happens more often. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just add a couple things as far as like some procedural changes as well. We're going to be talking about the RFCs in the Friday deployment meetings as well, which will give it a little bit more visibility throughout the organization, and possibly be a place where we adjust a little bit where what the priorities are for the RFCs we should be considering and pushing along. Another thing that we'll be doing is, so one thing I spoke very briefly with Tim about last night was that a thing that we can do in the IRC meetings is at least possibly come up with the single point person among the architects so that that architect feels comfortable just making the call rather than waiting for yet another meeting to go by, so that the meetings themselves still can focus on discussions and not feel like it has to reach a resolution, or it's going to have to wait for another RFC meeting to get scheduled. So there's lots of little tweaks and fine-tuning that that we're making to the process, but in general, the velocity seems to, sort of the flywheel seems to be picking up speed, and I think that this has in general been a really good way for us to actually settle on some pretty important basic things in our architecture. So all in all, I think it's been going quite well.
Good. Sumana, you want to continue?
Sure, yeah. So by the way, I think, Kim, you can turn off screen sharing now. The next thing that I want to talk about briefly is I'm still working on these 3 main guideline documents for security guidelines, performance guidelines, and architecture guidelines. I wanted to get the performance guidelines absolutely finalized and the draft tag removed in late May. That has not happened due to some just an unexpected amount of work that it takes to respond to the various things that the people have said, and also preparing for and going to Wiki Conference USA, which just happened at the very end of May, and which I'll talk about next. But I do anticipate finishing up the performance guidelines this week, and I also am continuing to work with Chris Stipe on the security guidelines and with Brian on the architecture guidelines. So you will see more movement on that on WikiTechL. Oh, I should also mention that being at the Zurich Hackathon and being able to talk to a lot of key developers to get principles and examples and consensus on the performance guidelines was really helpful. It was just key.
Yeah, these documents are looking great.
Okay, Sumana, you can continue with Wiki Conference USA.
Fantastic, great. Okay, so I believe I am the only member of engineering community team who attended Wiki Conference USA, which happened May 30th through June 1st here in New York City. I got to sleep in my own bed, so that was nice. And I gave the opening keynote address in which I spoke in my own personal capacity and not as an employee of the Wikimedia Foundation about the importance of nurturing learning communities and what I think we need to do next to make the larger Wikimedia movement even better at nurturing learning. since we all have to learn from each other if we're all going to achieve the mission. My intern, Frances Hockett, who is working on evaluating, documenting, and improving MediaWiki API clients, gave a well-received presentation on intro to the MediaWiki API and on how to use specifically MW client to access the MediaWiki API a bit easily, you know, without having to write quite as much boilerplate code. And at least one person in the audience tweeted and said, even though I'm not a programmer, I could follow every word of her talk, which was just a great moment of success. We attended various other talks. There was some technical content and some more outreach or GLAM-focused content. On the unconference day, I led, and then Frances led, a second session of a diversity training using the ADA Initiative's Ally Skills Training workshop materials, which are available for free online under an open license for anyone to use. This was the first ever Wiki Conference specifically devoted to the North American Wikimedia community, but it went off pretty well, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens again.
Sumana, is there a video recording of your keynote speech?
There is so there was video recorded. If you want to look at a incredibly very long stream that has approximately 10 hours of video, but nothing has been sliced up yet, I'm happy to give you a link. There is, I am personally paying, because I did give this speech in my personal capacity, I have paid for a transcript to be made, which is now available. Just this morning, I put it up on the Wiki Conference USA website, and I'm linking it around. There's also an audio version that I was able to get that is up on Commons, but I will let people know when the video is up as well. But if you want the transcript, which, you know, after all, you can probably read a lot faster than you can listen to a 30-minute speech, you know, it is available.
Okay, great.
It is very cool. Thank you, Sumana. Tech News Turn 1 in May. Guillaume?
Yeah, so well, I don't have much more to say other than that. So we celebrated the 1-year anniversary of Tech News. So we have about more than 300 subscribers at the moment, and I think about 40 of them are community pages, and the rest are individual subscribers. And over the past year, we've had translations into about 50 languages, and we get new languages from time to time. And we have about a dozen translations every week. And yeah, so it was nice to celebrate the birthday. Thank you, Rob, for the cake.
Say something, Rob, so we can record the cake.
Happy birthday!
Yay!
Yeah, so there's more information in the blog post that I linked to on the meetings page. And yeah, and that's it.
I just want to repeat what I told to Guillaume already. Nowadays, it's so easy to start any newsletter, blog, anything, you know, that we have thousands, millions of them. But if there would be a graph showing how many of them make it, like, you know, 3 months old, 6 months old, or 1 year old, we would see how the line decreases quickly. So it is, I personally consider a big hit that we can have one channel for tech news delivered on a weekly basis, and still going and kicking and alive. Good. So what's next? I think the hackathons topic is next. So let me again share. Must be an easier way to do this, I'm sure. Yeah. So also as a result of the hackathon and a meeting we had with several organizers and former organizers of events, we agreed that we would propose a process to basically find first of all, who is going to be the next organizer of the Wikimedia Hackathon in Europe? That's one question that we needed to answer, and instead of like whoever replies first to an email in a mailing list, or whoever knows the previous organizers and does a deal with them, we thought that it would be better to have a documented process with the same steps for everybody. And also the same process could be used for any other chapter or organization or group of contributors willing to propose a new hackathon. And a very specific use case for that is the case of India, where there seems to be a critical mass for that, but still some hesitation. So at least what we could do is to provide a process which is simple to start. So it is very simple to say, hey, we are Wikimedia somewhere, and we would like to host the next hackathon in our city. It's very easy to propose, a candidature that would be too formal, but at the same time, I think the process is good enough to just do the necessary steps to check that we pick the best candidate, and we meaning not just the Wikimedia Foundation, the Wikimedia technical community at large. All this is easy to say because we haven't tested the process yet, but it has been announced in Wikitech L and also in Wikimedia L, where most of the chapters, well, I would say all the chapters are following there. And so far we haven't received any proposal for organizing the next Wikimedia Hackathon, but we hope to receive proposals, and also hopefully for India at least. And when it comes to the European Hackathon, we hope to make a decision by Wikimedia in London latest. All right, and the last point is Wikimedia London Hackathon update. Rachel?
Okay, so let me just make this larger. So I went to London a couple weeks ago to check on the venue and meet with the Wikimedia UK team. The hackathon at Wikimedia are always easier to plan because all the infrastructure is in place because of the main conference, so it's always a bit less work. Currently, the UK team is finalizing the program for the greater conference and is not focusing as much on the hackathon yet. We don't have a point of contact who will be working directly with us on the hackathon besides Ed, who is the main organizer for everything, but we're working on getting our own point of contact. In case some big fire needs to be put out with the main event, we still have somebody to work with on the UK team who's focusing on our event only. Basically, all of the logistics are in place, though. The venue's great. We have a large main room. We have 3 breakout rooms, and we have an actual greenhouse, like indoor greenhouse, for a breakout space. It's going to be pretty cool. The food is provided by the venue, and I got to sample it, and it's great, so it'll be one step up from Switzerland. And the Wi-Fi was just upgraded at the Barbican, and Declan from the UK team is doing stress testing on it, so we should be good there. And Kim and I will be working, mostly Kim, I think, but I'm definitely here to help. We'll be working on the content and the tracks and we're going to I think we're going to treat it pretty similar to the Zurich Hackathon, with the exception of having a bunch of preset tracks for new people, because this event is going to likely be much larger than any hackathon we've had in the past. One of the things we talked about in London was capping the event at a certain number, because the UK team was thinking about going large, up to 600 people, but we talked and agreed to cap it at 250, which is still much larger than anything in the past. The UK team wasn't aware that we needed breakout rooms, so during my visit we obtained some for the event, and I got to help finalize the setup of the space. Got to know the members of the team, Ed and James and Declan and Stuart. They're all working pretty hard to pull this whole thing off. And then eventually, as soon as Ed is under a bit less pressure, we're going to start having regular meetings leading up to the hackathon. And another thing that we agreed upon in London was that we're going to shorten the hackathon. So the original plan was to have the hackathon run for the entire length of Wikimania plus the 2 days before Wikimania and be a separate ongoing event. But now the plan is to just have a 2-day hackathon as normal and keep the hackathon space open for developers to go and kind of work on projects as they want to, and that seemed to be really quite successful last year at Wikimania. And none of the social events have been finalized, but they will be. So that's pretty much the update that I have. Any questions about any of that?
I just want to say that from the ECT point of view, we already told to Ed that we were a bit concerned about, the mismatch between theoretical plans, what we really have, ambitions, etc. So he is aware, and I don't think we still are in a position to be now quiet and just confident. For instance, when I hear that Ed is busy, but now when he's going to be less busy, he will pay more attention to us. For what we know about events, the closer you get to the date of the event, the less available you are as a coordinator. But we'll see. I think it's very good news that the ambitions are getting more realistic, in my opinion, and probably we're going to get even more realistic as we get closer to the event. But I have no doubt it's going to be great. Maybe not just as planned initially, but still great.
Oh,
Okay.
one thing I forgot to mention is that the space is going to be open 24 hours a day. And so in Zurich, that was really great. People chose to stay up all night working, especially with jet lag and such. And they will have the opportunity to do that again here.
And so there will be also helpers or facilitators or anyone they can go to with problems also 24 hours a day?
Yes, BarberCon staff will be there, and then I'm sure people from the UK team will be there as well during the event, the hackathon.
Okay, great, yeah. I remember the one time, I think, Rachel, that you and I ever had to deal with a medical emergency. It was late at night, right, at one of these hackathons.
Okay, round the clock. It's almost 9 a.m. here in San Francisco. Thank you very much, and see you in the next showcase in a month.
Thanks for running this, Kim, and thanks everybody for listening. Bye.
Thanks all.
Bye.